9 signs. You're wasting time without even realizing it. Stoicism. Time flies over us but leaves its shadow behind. Nathaniel Hawthorne. Have you noticed how easily time slips away, often without us realizing it? We spend hours scrolling, waiting for that next notification, hoping it holds some magic. Or maybe you find yourself stuck in trivial tasks, pushing off what truly matters for later. But here's a reality check. While you're caught up in these distractions, the time you think you have is fading away. In today's video, Stoic in Your Life brings you 9 signs that you might be wasting time without even realizing it. These insights, rooted in Stoic wisdom, can help you focus on what truly matters and break free from distractions. Don't miss number 9. It might just be the shift you need. If you find value here, please subscribe and hit the bell. These insights could help shape your journey to a more intentional life. Let's dive in. 1. You use your phone even when you don't have any notifications. Have you ever wondered why, even without any notifications, your hand instinctively reaches for your phone, unlocking it and scrolling as if by some unseen force? It's like a habit carved so deeply into us that we hardly notice its pull. Every time you check your phone without a real reason, it's like opening a modern Pandora's box, only to find a flood of meaningless information and images. Technology has undoubtedly brought incredible advancements. It connects us, makes our work easier, even lets us track our health. But within these benefits lies a trap, a sweet prison we've willingly stepped into, lost in endless notifications and unimportant messages. As Seneca once said, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Every unnecessary glance at your screen is a small slice of precious time slipping away, never to be reclaimed. Our modern lives are filled with constant calls from technology, phone calls, texts, and an endless barrage of social media notifications. This isn't some fictional issue. It's a very real drain on our time and mental energy. The habit of checking our phones even with nothing urgent is like a quiet vortex pulling us away from what truly matters. Stoic philosophy. Originating thousands of years ago, provides a surprisingly relevant solution. Focus on what's essential and avoid the trivial. So, the first step to breaking free from this habit is to acknowledge the trap, a high-tech shackle that has quietly gripped us. Think of your habitual phone checks as an endless repetitive show, and dare to limit your binge watching by setting specific times to use your phone. For example, commit to checking your messages only after finishing a significant task or during lunch. Trust me, the world won't end if you don't respond to every message instantly. Consider trying the time-blocking method, a productivity technique that even the Stoics would likely appreciate. This approach requires breaking your day into focused time slots dedicated to specific tasks, with planned breaks to check your phone. Not only does this boost productivity, but it also fosters a deep focus on meaningful tasks, allowing for growth and self-improvement. Have you ever felt that a project was delayed because you let time slip away in screen distractions? If so, now is the time to change that. Furthermore, take a moment to reflect on how you genuinely want to use your time. Time, as Marcus Aurelius reminds us, is our most valuable asset, and once it's gone, it doesn't come back. Each mindless moment on your phone is a moment that could be spent building relationships, developing yourself, or simply living more fully. Letting your days vanish before a screen is like letting time slip like water through your fingers without holding on to it. Instead of letting your day dissolve in a stream of notifications and posts, consciously invest your time in ways that matter. Spend it with family, friends, on personal interests. These are the moments that bring true joy and fulfillment in life. So next time you feel the urge to check your phone without a clear reason, pause and ask yourself, what am I looking for here? Is it truly worthwhile? Or am I just filling a meaningless void? That small moment of awareness could be the start of a new commitment, a promise to yourself to prioritize what's genuinely important and to set aside your phone when it's not needed. Brian Tracy wisely said, "Lost moments spent on distractions never return, but the wisdom of having used your time well stays with you forever." Let this wisdom guide you, so each day becomes a mindful journey toward what you truly value, not just a passing scroll through the distractions of the digital world. 2. No priorizar tus tareas. How often have you found yourself pushing the important tasks to the end of the day, thinking, "I'll get to it later," only to watch as that later keeps slipping further out of reach? Before you know it, you're buried in a stream of emails, texts, and minor tasks that pile up, diverting your attention from what truly matters. And maybe these minor distractions seem harmless. They might even feel productive. But in reality, they can keep us trapped in a cycle of procrastination disguised as productivity. You're not alone in this. Many of us fall into the habit of giving more weight to what's trivial, mistakenly believing that by handling the smaller things first, we'll have a clear mind for the more important ones. It's a convincing trick. Our minds tell us that by clearing out the clutter, we're making progress. But in truth, it's like trying to fill a glass with sand and then expecting to have space left for water. The result? By the time the day ends, there's no room for the critical tasks, the ones that actually propel us forward. As Seneca wisely observed, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." If each day is a finite vessel, filled only by what we choose to pour into it, then it's crucial to start with what matters most before the trivial fills it up entirely. So why do we let these minor distractions take over our day? Maybe it's because they feel manageable, like quick wins, that allow us to feel accomplished without much effort. But these quick wins are misleading. They give us a false sense of productivity, keeping us busy but not genuinely productive. Stoic philosophy offers us a timeless approach to breaking this cycle. Focus on what you can control, prioritize what's essential, and let go of the rest. Stoics understood that time and energy are our most valuable resources and that they should be directed toward actions with real meaning and impact. In practical terms, this means starting each day with intention, putting first those tasks that will genuinely move the needle in your life, your career, or your personal growth. Imagine your day as a meal. You wouldn't skip the main course and go straight to dessert, expecting to feel satisfied. The main course, those essential tasks, provides nourishment and fulfillment. When you prioritize trivial activities first, it's like diving into dessert, leaving no room for what truly fills you. You may feel satisfied briefly, but ultimately, you're left hungry for more, wishing you'd used your time on what truly mattered. This mindset shift requires more than a good intention. It's about making a deliberate commitment to reframe the way you approach each day. Start by taking just 5 minutes each night to plan tomorrow's priorities. Choose the 3 most important tasks, the ones that will have the greatest impact on your goals or well-being, and commit to tackling them first thing in the morning. This means resisting the temptation to jump into emails, minor requests, or tasks that feel easy. Instead, lean into the meaningful work, the tasks that take real focus and effort, knowing that they'll bring the most significant reward. This shift won't happen overnight, and you'll likely feel the pull toward minor distractions at first. But gradually you'll notice the sense of accomplishment that comes from completing your most important work early in the day. And here's the real magic: by prioritizing what matters, you free up mental space and gain a clearer sense of purpose. This approach aligns beautifully with the Stoic way of focusing on what's within your control and what genuinely contributes to your growth. As the Stoics taught, and as Carl Jung aptly put it, the true wisdom is in doing first what truly matters, leaving the trivial for later. By anchoring your day around essential tasks, you'll find a sense of progress that's deeper and more rewarding than simply staying busy. The key to this approach is building it into a habit. It's one thing to commit to prioritizing today, but to truly transform your routine, you need to consistently place your important tasks first. Over time, you'll notice that each day becomes not just a list of to-dos, but a structured plan that allows you to focus your energy on what's meaningful. And as this practice becomes second nature, you'll experience the satisfaction of ending each day knowing you've invested your time where it counts. Each night, take a moment to reflect. Did I fill my day with meaningful progress, or did I let distractions take over? This reflection, small as it may seem, will keep you grounded and aware, preventing you from slipping back into old habits. So next time you're tempted to push that important task aside, remind yourself of the metaphorical glass. It won't fill itself with what matters if it's already packed with sand. Challenge yourself to create space for the meaningful and let the small stuff wait. Like a well-composed meal, your day will feel more fulfilling and satisfying when you prioritize what truly nourishes you. 3. Are you letting distractions steal your time? Have you ever looked up from hours spent binge-watching your favorite show or scrolling through social media, only to realize with a start that the day has slipped by almost without notice? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? On one hand, there's a sense of relaxation, a needed break from daily pressures, but on the other hand, there's a pang of regret. Like time itself is playing a cruel joke on us. The funny thing is, we start with the intention of just taking a small break, maybe a quick episode or two, but then the minutes turn into hours, and suddenly it's late, and we wonder, where did my day go? It's as if life has become one long, continuous Netflix series, with each day blending into the next, and we're the main characters, carried along without ever stopping to ask if the plot is worth following. The truth is, while a bit of entertainment is healthy and necessary, we all need to unwind. There's a fine line between relaxation and the kind of distraction that slowly steals our time away. Like an uninvited guest at a party who never quite knows when to leave, entertainment creeps into our day, turning what could have been a productive afternoon into a blur of episodes and posts. Picture your day as a garden, with every hour representing a spot in the soil, and each activity you choose is a plant you decide to nurture. Now, if you spend most of your time planting weeds, those endless social media scrolls, hours of video marathons, or jumping from one distraction to another, what kind of garden do you think you'll end up with? Instead of a flourishing, vibrant garden filled with personal growth, achievements, and meaningful experiences, what you're left with is an overgrown field of regrets, reminders of what could have been accomplished. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminds us of the preciousness of time, saying, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Reflect on this for a moment. How much of your time is truly being cultivated for growth, and how much is slipping away to distractions that barely add to your life? Breaking this habit isn't easy, but it starts with making a conscious shift in how you view your day and the value you place on your time. Try structuring your day with purpose, setting intentional boundaries that allow you to enjoy entertainment without letting it dominate. Just like you wouldn't make dessert the main course of a meal, think of entertainment as a treat, something enjoyable but not the substance of your day. Instead of letting these activities sprawl into every free moment, designate specific time blocks to relax and unwind, but make sure the rest of your time is invested in what truly enriches your life. Techniques like the Mauritiu Pomodoro method can help you balance productivity and leisure effectively. Set a timer for 25 minutes of focused work, followed by a 5-minute break, and allow yourself a longer break only after a few of these cycles. This keeps you productive while still offering time for relaxation, giving you small mental vacations without losing hours. And for those endless social media scrolls, consider using app blockers that help you limit time on these platforms after you've reached a set threshold. It's about reclaiming control over your day, deciding when and where you direct your attention instead of being swept away by whatever pops up on your screen. The Stoics emphasize the power of self-discipline, of choosing actions that align with our values and goals, rather than surrendering to impulses that lead us nowhere. When we let entertainment control our time unchecked, we're essentially handing over our most valuable asset to something that rarely gives anything of lasting value in return. The Stoic way teaches us that life's real value is found in the things we can control, in using our time wisely, and in focusing on what truly matters. Think of it this way. Life isn't like a show you can pause or come back to later. Each moment is irreplaceable, a finite resource that slips by whether we realize it or not. So the next time you feel the pull of one more episode or a few more minutes of scrolling, pause and ask yourself, is this how I want to spend my time? Imagine your future self looking back, grateful that you took the time to cultivate meaningful experiences, rather than letting the hours slip away in front of a screen. After all, as Brian Tracy wisely said, the lost moments spent on distractions never return, but the wisdom of having used your time well stays with you forever. Every day we have a choice, to let our time pass us by or to take control and spend it on things that build us up, that add value and meaning. So, think about it. What kind of garden are you cultivating today? Are you filling it with distractions, or are you nurturing it with moments that truly matter? Time, like the soil in your garden, is precious and limited. Plant seeds that will bring beauty, fulfillment, and growth into your life. And remember, once those moments are gone, they're gone for good. 4. You regret what happened. Have you ever found yourself stuck in the relentless grip of what-ifs and if-onlys, reliving moments from the past, as though by sheer force of will, you could rewrite them? We all have these moments, reflecting on mistakes, missed opportunities, things we wish had gone differently. But the truth is, spending time in this spiral is like getting caught in a maze with no exit, where each turn is another reminder that what's done is done. Life, unlike our minds, doesn't come with a rewind button, and no amount of looking back can change the course we've already taken. This is where Stoic philosophy comes in with a powerful reminder. Dwelling on the past is like attempting to row a boat forward while constantly looking backward. Every backward glance drags you down, and the weight of yesterday's regrets only serves to make today's progress harder to achieve. The philosopher Seneca put it plainly when he said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." His words call us to action, to stop wasting our lives looking backward and to start focusing on what lies ahead. Because here's the truth, the past cannot change, but how we choose to live in the present can. It's easy to get stuck thinking that if we just analyze our mistakes enough, we'll finally see what we could have done to make things different. But this habit is a form of self-imposed torture, a mental loop that serves no purpose other than to keep us in a state of regret and helplessness. Imagine trying to drive a car while constantly looking in the rearview mirror. Inevitably, you'll miss what's right in front of you, and sooner or later you'll crash. Life operates on the same principle. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, gave wise counsel that is still relevant today. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. His message is simple yet profound. Focus on what you can control, and let go of the rest. The past is one of those things beyond our control. The mistakes, the missteps, the could-have-beens are out of reach. The only thing we have power over is how we choose to live today. So how do we move past regret and let go of that relentless replay button? It starts with acknowledging that the past is like a river that has already flowed by. You can't step into the same water twice, and the current is always moving forward. Trying to relive the past is as futile as trying to hold back a river. Acceptance is the first step, but from there, the Stoics teach us to take action, to focus our energy on what we can change, our actions, our decisions, our attitude in the present moment. One practical method to manage regrets is to set a limited amount of time each day to think about the past. Yes, limit it. Give yourself, say, 10 minutes at the end of the day to reflect on any lessons you can learn, acknowledge any lingering feelings, and then consciously let them go. This way, you're giving the past its due, but you're also setting a boundary so it doesn't control your entire day. But letting go doesn't mean ignoring our experiences or failing to learn from them. Another valuable technique is visualization, not of the past but of the future. Instead of replaying what went wrong, shift your focus to what you want to achieve moving forward. Picture yourself in scenarios where you're making decisions that align with the person you want to be, the goals you want to reach, and the life you want to lead. This isn't about escapism. It's about using your energy in a way that builds you up rather than dragging you down. Imagine what your life would look like if every "what if" were replaced by a "what's next." Shifting to this mindset allows you to channel your energy productively, building a future based on lessons learned rather than regrets held. In the words of Brian Tracy, the lost moments spent on distractions never return, but the wisdom of having used your time well stays with you forever. When we let go of the past, we free ourselves to use time well, directing our focus to the possibilities that still lie ahead. Clinging to the past and wishing for things to have gone differently is one of the surest ways to waste precious time and, ultimately, life itself. While it's natural to reflect on our missteps, we must be cautious not to let these reflections become anchors that prevent us from moving forward. Regret, when held onto too tightly, can immobilize us, trapping us in a place where nothing changes. But when we apply Stoic wisdom, we find the courage to view the past as a series of lessons, not as a prison. Life is not meant to be a cycle of endless regrets. It's a journey of continuous growth and new opportunities. Each day we face forward, each choice we make today, is a chance to steer our lives in a more fulfilling direction. The next time you feel yourself pulled into that spiral of what ifs, remember this: time only moves in one direction, and that's forward. The present is your canvas, and you can choose to paint it with vibrant colors of growth, progress, and purpose. Take the lessons from the past with gratitude, but don't let them dictate the brushstrokes of today. Oscar Wilde put it well when he said, "The past is a ghost that haunts the present only if you allow it to." By living intentionally, by planting seeds of purpose and focusing on what you can create and improve, you'll find that the regrets of the past gradually lose their grip. Life feels richer, fuller, and more meaningful when we live it with the clear-eyed focus of knowing that today is all we truly have. So, let today be a day of action, not regret. Look ahead and decide to invest your time in the things that matter: your growth, your relationships, your goals, and your well-being. Every morning, remind yourself that each new day is an opportunity to be the person you aspire to be. In choosing to focus on the present and the possibilities of the future, you're not ignoring the past. You're simply refusing to let it define you. Do distractions or clutter steal away your precious time? Let's commit to change. Comment: starting fresh. If you're ready to refocus and take back control of your day. 5. You don't set limits on the people around you. Have you ever felt like you're caught in a web of endless social obligations, from meetings that go nowhere to calls that could have been a quick text, to gatherings that feel more like a drain than a joy? It's as if each day has you navigating a maze of expectations, and every turn leads to another invitation or request that pulls you further from the things that truly matter. And perhaps, like many people, you're constantly saying yes even when every fiber of your being wants to say no, only to end the day feeling exhausted, your own needs left somewhere at the bottom of a long list. But here's the question: why do we let ourselves get pulled into this endless loop? The answer often lies in the difficulty of setting boundaries. We don't want to disappoint, seem ungrateful, or be labeled as difficult, so we let our time slip away little by little, like sand slipping through fingers. But imagine if you could reclaim that time. If you could create boundaries that honor your energy and make space for the things you genuinely value. This is where Stoic wisdom can guide us to a more balanced life, one where we respect ourselves enough to say no when it's needed. Think about it. Your time is as precious as any physical resource, perhaps more so. Would you give away your money or your prized possessions to just anyone, anytime they asked? Yet we often hand over our time freely without a second thought. Imagine your time as a rare, valuable coin, and each social interaction or favor you agree to is a coin spent. Eventually, the coins run out, and you're left wondering where they all went, why you're so drained, and why there's little left for the things that actually bring you fulfillment. Marcus Aurelius. The Stoic emperor gave timeless advice that still applies today. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Similarly, the quality of your life depends on the way you choose to spend your time, and with whom. When our days are filled with activities that don't add value or align with our goals, we lose sight of our priorities and our sense of peace. But let's clarify something. Setting boundaries doesn't mean rejecting people or becoming a recluse. Social interactions, when meaningful, bring richness to our lives. Friendships, family gatherings, and even professional relationships are essential to our well-being. However, every interaction comes with a cost in terms of time, energy, and focus. Just because you're invited to every event or asked for every favor doesn't mean you have to oblige. In fact, by selectively choosing where to invest your time, you give yourself the freedom to be more present and engaged with the people and activities that matter most. Think of those trivial social gatherings and endless meetings as items on a restaurant menu. Just because they're there doesn't mean you need to order them. Filling your plate with too many side dishes leaves no room for the main course, the people, projects, and moments that actually bring fulfillment and meaning. When you set boundaries without feeling guilty or seeming rude, start by adopting a Stoic approach that emphasizes control over your actions rather than trying to meet everyone else's expectations. Before you say yes to a commitment, pause and ask yourself if it truly aligns with your values and goals. Does this invitation support your well-being, or is it just another way to fill time? For instance, if you're asked to attend a meeting that doesn't align with your priorities or contribute to your growth, think about what you could be doing instead, whether it's working on a personal project, spending time with loved ones, or simply unwinding. When you realize that every yes to others is also a no to something you might need or enjoy, you'll begin to see the importance of boundaries. The word no isn't harsh or selfish. It's a form of self-respect. By saying no to what drains you, you're giving a resounding yes to what nurtures you, what fuels your growth, and what brings you peace. Establishing boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to saying yes to everything. But remember, Brian Tracy, a self-development expert, wisely said, "The wisdom is in knowing when to say no to make room for what truly matters." With each boundary you set, you're carving out space for the things that bring joy, meaning, and purpose into your life. Picture each no as a protective shield around your time and energy, allowing you to focus on what genuinely brings fulfillment. This practice doesn't make you selfish. It makes you intentional, giving you the freedom to engage deeply and meaningfully when you do say yes. At the end of the day, you don't have to be available to everyone all the time, and that's okay. When you prioritize your own well-being, you're actually more available for the people and commitments that truly matter. Think of it this way: each time you set a boundary, you're choosing to live by your values rather than letting others dictate your day. Imagine how different life could feel if your time were spent only on what aligns with your true priorities. Each no to the unnecessary is a yes to what builds you up and supports your well-being. So the next time you face a social request, an invitation, or a favor, pause and ask yourself, is this worth my time and energy? Is this a wise use of the limited time I have, or am I better served by dedicating those minutes to something meaningful? It's about protecting the value of your time, making choices that bring richness to your life rather than depleting you. When you set boundaries, you're not closing yourself off. You're choosing to invest in what truly matters, shaping a life of depth and intention rather than one filled with surface-level engagements. In each decision, you're creating a life that's shaped by your values, one where time is spent on the things that nourish your spirit and align with your purpose. Every no to what's trivial becomes a yes to a life of greater meaning, connection, and personal growth. 6. you put temporary solutions. Next, have you ever found yourself facing a problem and rather than tackling it head-on, you throw a quick fix at it and tell yourself you'll handle the real issue later? It's so tempting, right? Like slapping a Band-Aid on a wound that actually needs stitches. It's faster, easier, and feels like enough in the moment. But here's the thing, that later often never comes. And meanwhile, the problem doesn't just linger. It grows, much like a balloon that inflates more and more with every second we delay, until it's ready to burst. Life is full of these little tests, and it's easy to see why we lean into temporary solutions. They give us a momentary sense of control, allowing us to go on with our day without dealing with the real issue. But eventually, just as with ignoring a small weed in a garden, these quick fixes turn into bigger, thornier problems. At first, it may be just a small weed at the edge, but soon enough it's choking out the flowers you've worked hard to nurture. When we procrastinate or rely on short-term fixes, we're not solving problems. We're simply delaying the inevitable. The Stoics, whose wisdom has guided countless lives, would argue that life doesn't kindly accommodate our procrastination. In fact, it often feels as though life has a way of amplifying our unresolved issues until we have no choice but to address them. Think of those moments when you've put off an important task only to end up facing a mountain of work that could have been a simple hill if tackled early on. Time is an elusive resource. Once it slips away, it's gone forever, and before you know it, what was once manageable has turned into a significant challenge. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us, difficulties are things that show a person what they are. The way we respond to challenges reveals much about us, and pushing problems aside isn't strength, it's avoidance. It's easy to ignore it, brush it off with a, we'll talk about it later mindset. But over time, resentment builds, misunderstandings grow, and what was once a small disagreement can become a lasting rift. Addressing issues directly doesn't mean we need to resolve them perfectly right away, but it does require taking time to handle them appropriately. The Stoics taught us to face adversity with clarity and determination, knowing that real peace comes not from ignoring issues, but from resolving them. Imagine taking a steady, deliberate approach to a problem, much like a craftsman who works patiently on a complex piece, knowing that each thoughtful action is an investment in a stronger outcome. Creating a plan for addressing issues is crucial, and this doesn't mean an overwhelming effort all at once. Instead, it's about setting clear, achievable steps that bring you closer to a lasting solution. A common Stoic approach is to view each problem as a series of manageable tasks, breaking down the whole into smaller, actionable steps. There's a powerful quote that applies here. A problem well defined is a problem half solved. Think of a work project that feels daunting. Rather than avoiding it or making minimal efforts, break it down. By defining the core issue and tackling each piece one at a time, you're moving steadily toward completion instead of dreading an eventual crisis. And for personal conflicts, address them with maturity. If someone has offended you, don't let it fester. Approach the issue calmly, without anger, and resolve it before it becomes a source of ongoing resentment. The danger of temporary fixes is that they may relieve stress in the short term, but they often increase it in the long run. A quick fix is like sweeping dust under the rug. It may look clean on the surface, but the mess remains, accumulating until it can no longer be hidden. Addressing problems fully, even when it's uncomfortable, is a healthier approach that brings genuine peace of mind. And consider this. A patch might hold for a little while, but a real solution endures. Rather than just covering up issues and hoping they disappear, confront them with the same seriousness you'd bring to any important life challenge. Not only does this give you a greater sense of control and accomplishment, but it also allows you to live with less stress, knowing that you're managing your life actively rather than merely reacting to it. Embrace the Stoic mindset. Confront problems promptly and with a clear head. As the saying goes, if you choose to ignore the weeds, they will eventually take over the garden. Choosing a durable solution over a quick fix may take more effort initially, but in the end, it's far more rewarding. You'll find that addressing issues head-on gives you a stronger foundation for the future, a life with fewer unresolved conflicts, less accumulated stress, and a greater sense of peace. In the words of Seneca, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. Choosing to solve problems fully is courageous, and it's an investment in a life of purpose, clarity, and resilience. So, when you're tempted to choose the easy way out, remember that patches only delay the inevitable. 7. You don't focus on what you should. Have you noticed how much time slips away when you try to tackle everything at once but end up doing none of it well? If you're nodding along with a quiet yes, you're not alone. Many of us get caught in this cycle of distraction, like kids in a candy store, overwhelmed by choices and unable to focus. It's a common trap, especially in a world that rewards busyness and multitasking over real focused work. But here's the thing. We lose valuable time without realizing it because we lack focus and, more importantly, we don't set clear priorities. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This Stoic wisdom reminds us of the importance of focusing only on what truly matters. When we scatter our attention across too many tasks, we dilute our effectiveness, often moving in all directions, but advancing in none. Let's put it in perspective. Imagine you're part of a relay race. The runner with the baton must concentrate on passing it smoothly to the next person, keeping a steady pace, avoiding any distractions, and focusing only on the handoff. But in your daily race, you're often doing the opposite, stumbling, glancing at the crowd, wondering about yesterday's cravings, and letting your mind drift to anything but the task at hand. The result? You're moving, but you're not progressing. And much like in a race, each misstep adds up, causing you to fall behind. The primary culprit here is multitasking, a seductive but deceptive promise of productivity that claims you can do it all at once. In reality, multitasking is more like trying to play the piano while riding a bike. You may be able to do both, but neither will be done well. The Stoic philosophy emphasizes focusing on what's within our control and giving our best to it, a practice that requires concentration and intentionality. In practical terms, this means choosing one priority, committing to it fully, and resisting the pull of distractions until that task is complete. Yet, in today's world, distractions are relentless, and our phones, social media, and constant notifications pull us away from what's truly valuable. It's easy to end a day feeling busy but unproductive, scattered but unfulfilled. Real progress demands clarity, the discipline to say no to the unnecessary, and the courage to focus solely on what genuinely moves you toward your goals. How often do you start a task only to jump to another because something else caught your attention? We've all been there thinking we're making progress by doing a little bit of everything. But consider this. Progress isn't about doing more things. It's about doing the right things. Ask yourself, is this task moving me closer to my goal, or is it just filling time? The answer often reveals a habit of busy work, tasks we take on because they feel productive, even though they're merely keeping us occupied. Epictetus reminded us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This advice speaks to the importance of intentional action, choosing what we focus on based on the outcome we want, not on the impulse of the moment. Letting go of the illusion of multitasking and embracing a single-minded focus isn't always easy, but it's essential for meaningful productivity. Start by defining your top priorities each day. Limit yourself to 3 core tasks that, if completed, will make the day feel successful and rewarding. This approach, known as essentialism, is about doing less but better. When you commit to fewer tasks, you give yourself the freedom to invest in quality over quantity. Picture yourself working on a project, fully immersed, with no distractions pulling at your attention. Imagine the satisfaction of completing that project with your best effort rather than rushing through a list of half-finished tasks. A key strategy for maintaining focus is to create routines and systems that support it. The Pomodoro technique, for instance, helps by breaking work into intervals of focused time. followed by short breaks. This method encourages deep work, allowing you to immerse yourself fully in a task without burning out. Additionally, setting specific times for checking emails or messages prevents them from interrupting your focus throughout the day. Every time we switch tasks, our brains need to readjust, costing us time and reducing the quality of our work. Protecting blocks of uninterrupted time is essential for achieving the quality that Stoics valued so highly. The Stoics teach us that a purposeful life is not filled with endless activity, but with meaningful action. In a society that often glorifies doing more, consider that doing less, focusing intently on a few meaningful goals, leads to far greater satisfaction and success. Seneca reminds us, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Each minute spent on distractions or non-essential tasks is a lost opportunity to do what truly matters. So the next time you find yourself tempted by multitasking or trivial activities, ask yourself if they serve a meaningful purpose. Would the best version of yourself be doing this? This shift in perspective allows you to reclaim your time and direct it toward actions that align with your values and ambitions. Life is short, but when lived with purpose and clarity, it's more than enough. The next time you feel your attention scattered, take a step back. Set your priorities, focus deeply on what's in front of you, and let go of the distractions that only dilute your progress. By focusing on what truly matters, you not only honor your time but cultivate a life of purpose, one meaningful step at a time. 8. Distractions. Distractions, those little seemingly harmless interruptions, can feel like treats we indulge in while waiting in line or taking a break. They're like the free cookies in a waiting room. They entertain you for a bit, but they don't truly satisfy or nourish you. Each notification on your phone, every open browser tab, every office gossip session is a tiny poison, slowly eroding your focus and productivity. If you want to accomplish something meaningful and do it well, the first step is to eliminate these distractions. Seneca once said, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." This wisdom reminds us that dividing our attention too thinly leaves us with nothing meaningful to show for our time. That's why focus, deep, sustained concentration on what matters, is the key to moving from mediocrity to mastery. One of the most effective ways to fight distractions is to use the 3 tasks technique, which involves identifying the top 3 priorities of your day and dedicating your energy to them. Think of it as a map in the jungle. If you know your destination, you're less likely to wander aimlessly. Start each morning by writing down these 3 primary tasks, then assign focused blocks of time to each, committing to work on them without interruption. A simple tool, like a timer, can help keep you on track, reminding you to stay committed and avoid getting pulled away by minor distractions. Picture each task as a stage in a race. Focus on reaching that finish line before moving on to the next. This approach not only gives structure to your day, but also fosters a sense of accomplishment as you knock out one priority after another. Time is a resource that, unlike money, cannot be reclaimed. Once it's gone, it's gone. Every moment spent on multitasking, trivial tasks, or meaningless distractions is time you're essentially giving away for nothing in return. Focus on doing one thing at a time, and do it well. This single-minded approach resonates with Stoic philosophy, which teaches us that control over our actions and thoughts is the foundation of wisdom. By honing in on what truly matters, we cut through the noise of the world around us and reach a place of clarity. Remember, it's not that you lack time. It's that you may not be using the time you have in the most effective way possible. Now think about the reality of constant disorganization. Have you ever found yourself sifting through a pile of papers in a desperate search for that one document, only to feel the minutes slipping away as you rummage through the mess? Disorganization can feel like a quiet thief that robs you of time and mental peace without you even noticing. It's like trying to navigate a forest without a map, while a timer ticks relentlessly, marking each lost second. Disorganization isn't just a small inconvenience. It's like a wildfire in a dry forest, spreading quickly, consuming everything in its path, and leaving you in a whirlwind of chaos and lost time. Picture a moment where you urgently need a specific report that's somewhere around here, only to embark on a time-wasting expedition because your documents are scattered and unorganized. What should have been a quick search turns into an odyssey, and your energy drains with every minute lost in the chaos. To combat this time-sucking villain, organization is your greatest weapon. No, you don't need to be a Zen master in a minimalist monastery, but taking small, steady steps to bring order to your workspace can be transformative. Start by giving each item a home. Every document, tool, or supply should have a designated spot, like naming your belongings to make them easier to find. This doesn't mean your office needs to resemble an IKEA showroom. It just means developing a simple, effective system that saves you from having to launch an archaeological dig every time you need something. Use folders, boxes, or any system that resonates with you and fits your style. Organization is not about creating a perfect, sterile environment. It's about designing a workspace that allows you to retrieve what you need without wasting valuable time or patience. Next, dedicate regular time to staying organized. Don't wait until chaos has taken over before you start setting things in order. Spend a few minutes each day putting things back where they belong. Treat it as a small ritual, like feeding a pet. Consistency keeps clutter from growing into a time-wasting monster, saving you from unnecessary frustration and freeing up your mind to focus on what truly matters. The Stoics teach that life's value lies in simplicity and intention. When distractions and disorganization dominate our day, we lose the clarity we need to focus on what's truly meaningful. So if you're ready to move from distraction to purpose, start by cutting out the noise and bringing order to your environment. As the ancient proverb goes, time is spent in distractions but invested in concentration. Take charge of your time, clear away the unnecessary, and let each day bring you closer to your goals. You'll find a life of peace and productivity that only focus and organization can provide. How would it feel to finally be free from distractions and get organized? If you're ready for that transformation, just comment, "Time for clarity," and take the first step with us. 9. Transform frustration into focus. Reflect for a moment on Stoic philosophy, the wisdom that teaches us we may not control everything that happens to us, but we do have complete control over our reactions. In our daily lives, this principle is a powerful reminder when we face something as seemingly small, but actually significant as disorganization. How often have you found yourself buried in clutter, wasting precious minutes searching for a missing document, a set of keys, or an email you just can't seem to find? It's as though disorganization has a sneaky way of pulling us into a time-wasting trap without us even realizing it. What starts as a minor inconvenience becomes a pattern, and suddenly it's not just about lost items, it's lost time, lost energy, and ultimately lost peace of mind. Disorganization is a subtle thief that keeps us from experiencing true productivity and peace. But here's the opportunity. Rather than viewing this clutter and disorder as a cause for frustration, look at it as an invitation to improve, to create a system that works for you long-term. With the right perspective, disorganization can shift from an enemy to a catalyst for change, reminding us to create a structure that allows us to reclaim our time and focus. The simplest and most powerful first step in taming disorganization is to assign a specific home for everything you frequently use. No, you don't need a spotless, minimalist space, but give every item a designated place where it belongs: your documents, your tools, your supplies. When each object has a home, you're no longer scrambling around, wasting time searching, and instead you build a natural sense of order. Think of it like managing relationships. Just as you wouldn't allow chaotic, untrustworthy people to take up your mental space, why would you let disorderly clutter take up your physical space? This approach may seem basic, but it's surprisingly effective. And to keep things from spiraling into chaos, dedicate a few minutes each day to tidying up. These small moments of organization are like feeding a pet. Consistent attention prevents it from turning into an unruly beast. This isn't about achieving perfect order, but rather creating an environment where your mind can find calm amid the busyness of life. As the Stoics remind us, order your surroundings to order your mind. Now let's talk about frustration, that relentless feeling that creeps up when you're giving your best effort but seem to be going nowhere. Maybe you've found yourself in those moments, silently screaming, "I've tried everything." Frustration can feel suffocating, like running on a treadmill without making any progress. It's a sign, a persistent signal, that something's not right. And here's the key insight. Frustration often indicates that we're investing time and energy into the wrong places, into pursuits that aren't yielding the results we need. Think of frustration as an alarm, not the kind in your house, but one that rings in your mind. The Stoics understood frustration as a cue that something deeper needs our attention, a sign that our focus is misplaced. Epictetus once said, "Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems." Often we worry and toil over things beyond our control, or we fixate on tasks that don't truly bring value, trapping ourselves in an exhausting loop of low-impact activities. If you find yourself frustrated often, take a pause. Do an honest inventory of where your time and energy are going, and ask yourself if these activities are genuinely moving you closer to your goals or simply keeping you busy. The Stoics advise focusing our efforts on what's within our control and letting go of the rest. A practical approach here is the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule, which suggests that 20% of our actions often yield 80% of our results. Identify the small but powerful activities that genuinely drive your success and double down on them, while letting go of tasks that merely drain your energy without adding value. This principle helps reveal the core of your efforts, allowing you to make conscious choices about where to invest your time. Ask yourself, is this task adding real value, or am I just filling time? By focusing on what truly matters, you begin to see tangible progress, and the weight of frustration starts to lift. But it's important to remember that genuine change doesn't happen overnight. It requires steady action and self-honesty. Recognizing that you've been spending time on unproductive tasks isn't about self-blame. It's an opportunity to redirect your energy toward what truly counts. Instead of spiraling into self-criticism, see this as a chance to refocus. Life doesn't have to be an endless obstacle course. Rather, it can be a path where you choose the most effective routes toward your goals. Frustration, then, becomes a guide, showing you where your efforts are best applied and where they may be wasted. As Mario Alonso Puig wisely put it, frustration is the signal that you're wasting time on the wrong path, not the confirmation that you lack talent. So next time frustration takes hold, don't view it as a personal failure. Instead, let it be a prompt to reevaluate, a moment to ask if the direction you're taking aligns with what truly matters to you. Adjusting your focus may be all that's needed to transform frustration into fulfillment. Remember, life's most satisfying progress doesn't come from simply being busy. It comes from making intentional choices that align with our deepest goals and values. Ultimately, every moment we spend, whether in distraction, disorganization, or frustration, is a moment we can never reclaim. Life, as the Stoics remind us, is finite, and our most valuable resource isn't money, prestige, or possessions, it's time. The way we choose to invest it reflects not just our goals but the very essence of who we are. By focusing on what truly matters, setting boundaries that honor our well-being, and embracing simplicity and intention, we create a life of depth rather than one scattered by distractions and superficial pursuits. Each small action, each conscious decision, is a step toward the life we desire, one that is full not of clutter and noise, but of purpose and peace. Remember, it's not about doing more, but about doing what resonates with our values, what brings us fulfillment, and what leads us forward. So, take a breath, clear away the unnecessary, and step into each day with clarity and resolve, knowing that the life you build, one meaningful choice at a time, is the truest reflection of your highest self.